The Chevrolet C10 is a series of pickup trucks that were produced by Chevrolet from 1960 to 1987. These trucks were part of the Chevrolet CK series, which included a range of trucks with different designations based on their payload capacity. The C in C10 stands for two-wheel drive, while the K in K10 would denote four-wheel drive. The C10 was introduced in 1960, replacing the Chevrolet Task Force series. The First Gen C10 line, which ran from 1960 to 1966, featured a more modern design compared to its predecessor, with a distinctive Apache hood ornament. It was rear-wheel drive, half-ton, only available in a standard cab, and came with two bed lengths, 6.5 feet or 8 feet. You could also choose between step-side or fleet-side beds. The step-side bed featured fenders and a step in front of the rear wheel, while the fleet-side bed featured straight sides. Engine options included a range of inline-6 and V8 engines. Power ranged from 135 horsepower, with the 236 cubic inline-6, all the way up to 180 horsepower, with the 283 cubic inch V8. The truck had both manual and automatic transmission options. Chevy C10 trucks were the first Chevy and GMC pickups equipped with AFS, or independent front suspension, which replaced the non-independent straight axle found on Chevy and GMC trucks prior to 1960. Notable first-gen characteristics are the 1960 through 1961's dual-pod hood. Additionally, these early C10s will have a hood emblem with a V under the bow tie, indicating whether or not that a V8 engine is under the hood up until 1961. The 1960 and 1961 models appear very similar aesthetically, with few exterior changes. Look for tie-styled turn signals, an ever-so-slightly different grille center, and a new hubcap design. Additionally, 61s were notable for having Apache 10 emblems on each side of the hood. 1962 was the last year of the Apache nameplate for the Chevy C10 truck. In fact, 1962 saw a lot of changes to the C10. For the first time, an alternator was offered as an option. Chevrolet introduced a new Easy View styling hood, in addition to a completely different grille than the less desirable dual-pod design. Out was the much-adored Stovebolt i6 engine, as well as the X-braced drop frame design and torsion bar IFS. With 1963, in came two new inline-6 engines, replacing the 236 inline-6. A 230 cubic inch 6 became the base engine, producing 140 horsepower, while a 292 cubic inch 6, producing 165 horsepower, was introduced as an optional inline-6. The 283 V8 was retuned to 175 horsepower. 63 also saw the end of the dual-pod dashboard and wraparound windshield. The grille was a year-only design with round headlight doors that previewed the coming of identical 1964 through 1966 Chevy C10 grilles with square headlight doors. Of all of the first-gen Chevy 10s, the 1963 custom cab with the big window is the most sought after. In 1964, the cab had major redesigning. The windshield and A-pillar were changed, eliminating the intrusive dog leg that was created by the previous 1960 through 1963 designs. This left the cab with a new and revised side door opening configuration. Chevrolet engineers lauded its increased cab torsional strength. 64 saw three different upgrade groups for the cab: custom appearance equipment, custom comfort, and convenience equipment, distinguishable by a polished stainless steel trim plate, or lack thereof. Lastly, the redesign brought a change to the dashboard and door panels. C10s released in 1965 through 1966 saw few fundamental changes to the body. The biggest innovation during this time period was air conditioning, becoming an option for the first time. Other than a series nameplate and three different bumpers offered as options, few ways exist to distinguish between a 1965 and 1966 C10, the main being the paint color. Provided it hasn't been repainted, 1965 colors consisted of light green, maroon, light yellow, and fawn, while 1966 had the palette of light green, dark aqua, silver, and saddle. The 1966 C10 did offer a 327 cubic inch V8, the same engine that was introduced for Corvette and Chevy passenger cars. It produced 220 horsepower at 4,400 RPM. Notably, Chevy C10 truck engines were painted gray, unlike Corvette and Chevy passenger car engines, which were painted Chevrolet orange. Breaking sales records in 1964, 1965, and 1966, the C10 proved Americans had a desire for comfortable, light-duty trucks that had a price tag of around $2,500. Seeing this success, Chevrolet launched the Action Line series in 1967 with an array of design and mechanical improvements. These early to mid-1960s American-made Chevrolet trucks have skyrocketed in popularity over the last 10 years. Thankfully, due to great sales and thus high production numbers, these trucks and parts for them are obtainable and commonly found in the restoration community, in private collections, and being offered at public classic car and truck auctions. That wraps up First Gen C10 Talk. If you enjoyed this, please go ahead and give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, as well as subscribe to not miss any of our newest videos.